What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Immortal X-Men issue number 8. This story is going to be jumping us back a while, from 1943 all the way to London, 1895. This is one I am very excited about because it is really going to be focusing on Mystique, Destiny, and Sinister, as well as one of my favorite all-time fictional characters, Sherlock Holmes. And we are building up to the sins of Sinister. This is laying the groundwork. With Judgment Day in the rearview mirror, we are gonna learn how deep the history is with Sinister and Destiny. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, make sure you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up in New Mexico, 1943. And our story, it starts off by following Mystique. In disguise, she has made her way onto a military base. That is because Destiny has been up to something. She has been keeping it under wraps, not letting Mystique know what is going on. Curiosity getting the better of her, needing to know what Destiny has been up to. With Mystique knocking out these guards, taking the form of one of them, this is going to give her access to the base. As she gets inside, it doesn't take long for Irene to find her. And while Destiny tells her that she needs to get out of here, Mystique refuses to leave until she knows what is going on. Because what she sees are cloning vats, eugenics, things of this nature. We learn that Irene has been working with Sinister. And while Destiny greatly agrees with almost everything that Sinister represents, there is one very important thing that they agree on. Mutant kind is important. At the end of the day, they are ultimately on the same side, and Sinister is gathering all the information he can on mutant genome. While they both may think that this work is an abomination, ultimately she knows that this is going to be to the benefit of all mutant kind. At least one day it will. What Mystique didn't understand at the time is that Destiny was already paving the road towards Krakoa, but she is not naive enough to believe that they can trust Sinister. But being here this close, this allows Destiny to keep tabs on him. With her powers of probability, being able to see glimpses into the future, she is learning a lot and discovering what is a problem and what is not a problem. She already knows that Sinister is going to hide his DNA in certain individuals, from families like Shaw, Sullivan, Xavier, so on and so forth. When he dies, he will try to take over them, a psychic broadcast. But Destiny already knows that this is going to fail. In fact, she knows that a bald psychic is going to give him a thrashing, at least a psychic thrashing, while giving him German philosophy. Even so, Mystique knows that Sinister is going to find a way to cheat death, that he has already done it before. This is one thing that Mystique never fully understood. She never understood how Sinister has stayed alive after all of these years. That is what takes us to London, 1895. We are picking up at 221 Baker Street. This is the office of the great detective known as Sherlock Holmes. The two individuals that we see Destiny as a man walks out of the office. Going inside, we learn that the great detective is in fact Mystique, taking the form of a man. In the year 1895 in London, a woman doing this kind of work is something that is just unheard of. So Mystique taking the form of someone like Sherlock Holmes, going about doing this work. At least in this context, it makes sense. Mystique has just gotten some news. There have been a couple of East London murders, the death toll climbing to 6. There has been one lucky survivor, Nathaniel Essex. And so Mystique goes to investigate. Headed over to Milbury House. This is the first time that Mystique ever met Sinister. But this isn't the man that we know today, looking very feeble, on the verge of death. If you had asked Mystique back then if this man would live for another century, even longer, it would be something that she could not believe. In fact, she believed that he wouldn't even last the year. But as the two of them are invited inside of Nathaniel's home, he has been working on what he calls the excess factors. This is when Irene begins talking about how Darwin sees his theories as more monstrous than science itself. All of his talk about superior beings, so on and so forth. Before they can get into all all the details of the SX factors. This is when the great detective starts trying to question about the attack. He gives very vague details, saying that he was walking and he was attacked from behind, that he was able to survive, and there are no more details that he can give out. With him not being helpful in the slightest bit, Mystique and Irene, they head out, with Destiny asking Mystique if she would like a clue, but this is something that she wants to figure out on her own, going and wandering the streets of London, taking the facade of being some helpless woman that just needs somebody to help her home. She walked and walked and walked, and she was just waiting for somebody to come murder her. That is when she heard the scream, pulling out a rifle and heading in that direction. By the time she gets over there, this is where we see Sinister. He is currently tearing a man apart. Mystique wastes no time pulling up her rifle and going to take a shot at him. Being able to dodge it, he takes off. Getting to the rooftops, he makes his escape, having unearthly strength, speed, and a mind unhinged. She simply was unable to keep up with him. But this is a thing she didn't need to do, because she knew exactly where he was going. Of course, by the time that she got back to Nathaniel's home, his quote-unquote lair, Irene was already there waiting outside. Destiny knew that he was the one. She knew that Mystique was going to come here. But we see Mystique kick down the door. Going inside, we see a transformation. We see Sinister turn into Nathaniel, letting them know that this is beyond their understanding. But he also learns that these are the SX men, beginning to investigate what actually happened to him. He says that he never should have trusted the Egyptian, aka Apocalypse. Apocalypse came to him and gave him a great power. And while Sinister did try to escape Apocalypse, without his leash, Sinister's powers, they seem to be going wild. In fact, they are killing him. The only problem is that he cannot live without these gifts, but he also cannot live with them. He finds himself in one heck of a pickle. One thing he knows is that he cannot die yet. Not that he is unable to, but he doesn't want to, because at this point in time, Nathaniel knows that something is coming. The battles that the future holds. The ones in the 20th century. He is predicting a war on a scale that is unimaginable. Destiny only confirming that this is a very good possibility. But she also says that there is a way through. He does mention a Charles. We can only assume Charles Xavier, saying that the following century, this is going to be the real trick. By then, he says that his math is saying Charles monsters will be upon them. But what he is hypothesizing is that we are going to see a multitude of geniuses come forth, each iteration being bigger, being stronger, but eventually, inevitably, the weight of this genius, it is going to cause everything to collapse on one another. The weight of it all will crush everybody. But he does have a plan for the long game. Despite his current predicament, he says the monster inside of him will be tamed, that he will make it to the 20th century, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. The only reason that he is telling them all of this is there will come a day when a war happens. A war between people like them and people that are not like them. When that war comes, they need to all be on the same side. This is when Irene just knocks him out, locking him up inside of an insane asylum. They leave him here to live out his days. They are giving him the chance, believing that his gifts from the Egyptian might settle. He can stay here until that does happen, but there will be no more murders on the streets of London, hoping that the next time they meet, he is going to be a different person. Inside of his cell, he says that he is going to live forever, that there will be no stopping him, and then something appears in the cell with him. We don't really know what it is, but it glows red, as he repeats red and black, red and black, red and black, saying that this individual is a ghost. The next morning, they find Nathaniel SX dead, with Mystique killing the guard because he was going to take a bribe, a man that they simply could not trust. They want to keep this as under wraps as possible. The question on if Nathaniel is actually dead, Destiny isn't sure on this. It remains to still be seen. The question is, how much does Destiny know that she wasn't telling Mystique? They knew that Sinister's impact would go far into the future, all the way to the end of her vision, saying that he needed to reach the paradise on the hill on the horizon. That, of course, is Krakoa. But Mystique never learned how Sinister was able to return after this death. That is where we see Destiny by herself going back to Sinister's home. There had been a door that was chained up. This door leads down to a basement. Inside of that basement, we have 4 different vats. Each of them marked individually, one with a diamond, one with club, one with spade, one with heart. Each of these vats are broken open. This is where the true story of Sinister begins. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I'm going to say it 1,001 more times. X-Men Red and Immortal X-Men are hands down the best thing coming out of Marvel Comics. This appears to be the first attempt at some kind of resurrection process. Sinister's cloning would eventually lead to Krakoa itself. That Sinister may be some horrible individual, but he is a necessary evil to really move mutant kind forward. Without his efforts, without his genius, it is possible that mutant kind never reaches Krakoa. This might be why Destiny has kept so much from Mystique when it comes to Sinister. As we see almost close to World War II, Destiny is working with him because she knows what needs to be done. One thing this definitely shows us is that there have been 4 different versions of Sinister running around since 1895. And at this point, Sinister has amassed so much power, so much knowledge, so much technology. I mean, heck, he's even got vats of freaking Moira so he can restart the timeline. He may not be the most powerful individual that is on Krakoa, but he has amassed a certain type of power, a power of control. And this is silent control, control that nobody knows about. While the Quiet Council does all of their things, while Krakoa is doing its thing, the Great Ring, Araco, all of that, Sinister can literally restart the timeline by the snap of his fingers. He can go and do whatever he wants, however he chooses. If we are to say that there is some kind of shadow government, Sinister is the shadow government of Krakoa. And if you hate him, you love him, it doesn't matter. Sinister has played such an intricate part in moving mutant kind forward, in moving them towards Krakoa. Now, of course, this is all for his own goals. He knows that if he stands alone, that he would ultimately fall. But if he surrounds himself with mutant kind, if he amasses all of this power and ability, then this is essentially protecting himself while also getting everything that he wants in the process. We have already seen future possibilities of what Sinister can do. We know that his motives are bad. We know the end game is just him in control. So I guess the question would be, how long do you let a necessary evil continue to be evil? How long does it benefit you before it is already too late and that evil turns on you? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with this series, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It'll get you completely caught up on everything going on with Immortal X-Men. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon having 5 different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.